Jump on. Hello. We're trying something a little new today. We have heard that there is a lag in the time when people can jump on to Facebook and start the video, and so we thought we would just take a little break at the end and then jump right in. So, good morning. How is everyone today? I am Erin Snethen, and I am here to talk to you today. So we have just entered into daylight savings time here, which is one of my favorite times of year. It's like an awakening, you know, it's lighter out longer, and things are starting to pop up in the yard, you know, and it just seems like such a bright time of year, even though it's usually really chilly in Kansas still. But things are starting to happen, you know, you can really picture spring happening. So I get really excited for that. So I want to know, I'm curious. So do you guys continue to sew for winter this time of year? Do you jump ahead to spring and summer? Do you have like a transition wardrobe? So what are you sewing right now? I'm thinking ahead to spring and to summer, but it was 29 degrees when I came to work this morning. So not really reality, even though I want to put on my summer dresses. I would have to put on a parka with it. So I don't think that quite works. So what I think reality is, it's transition time here in Kansas. So you're still, maybe you're thinking about some brighter colors or maybe some lighter layers, but you're still layering because it's still chilly. So one of the things that I think is a great layering piece is a vest. So you can layer a vest with a long sleeve t-shirt. You can layer a vest even with a sweater. Like those kind of thicker layers have been really popular this winter. So a hoodie, a sweatshirt with a puffy vest, or and then as it gets warmer, you're putting on the t-shirt, the short sleeve, the long sleeve, a light sweater with maybe a thinner vest. So it's the perfect time to talk about vests. We have quite a few vests in our line, and whether they are vests as the actual pattern or if they're vests, the jackets that you turn into vests. So there's a lot of options. So I'm going to show you a few of the vests that we have to offer, and then also kind of talk about a specific vest and t-shirt, and then some great Danish fabrics that we have been just loving, but we haven't presented them on Facebook Live yet. So let's dive into some vests. So one of the first vests here, this is actually a Quincy Jacket. So we took the Quincy Jacket and just left off the sleeves. And with this stretch, like scuba-like knit, we didn't have to finish any of the edges, so we did an overlapping seam technique on this one. And just left off the sleeve. It has this unique side panel, so it gives it a nice kind of geometric shape to it when it's finished. And then it's layered over a lengthened mesh eTee with a little bit of a larger collar here and a long sleeve. So that's the Quincy and the eTee. The next one is the Detour. This was actually a Sew Confident that we did a couple years ago, and we had different options on how you can make the Detour, whether it's a vest, whether it's a long swing coat, whether it's a lined jacket, but this is created and made into a vest. So again, this one just left off the sleeves, and it's made in a gauze, a linen actually, and then it has some facing in a more of a gauze organza. And then it is an eTee underneath.
Do you want to show the fabric close? Because I think we still have a little bit of it.
Oh, okay.
So
we still have a little bit of this fabric. So you can see it has these metallic gold dots on it, which is really unique, not the kind of linen that we normally get in.
If we don't, sorry everybody. But I think we do.
Last time I looked, you're right, I think we did.
I think we have a little bit.
It's a little sheer, which as it does hopefully finally warm up, It's a nice layering piece to still have that layer, but it's nice and light. So here's a vest that actually is a vest pattern, the Peony Vest. This was a project that Linda did for Threads. We might have to come back and tell you what article that actually was, but she used Tyvek on this vest, which I think is really interesting. She used Tyvek and then did some top stitching on the garment and then finished it with a zipper. This technique is not in the pattern, but it does talk about it in the Threads article. So it's the same angle that we have on the pattern itself, but we used a zipper to finish it off. And then some cute little details with the button at the side seam.
I like the colored stitching. It's fun.
I know that orange stitching is really neat. It really sets it off. And then there's an eTee underneath and a textured knit. Another one, this is actually the eShrug made into a vest. So the eShrug is a pattern that's more of a cropped shrug, and then it has short sleeves, and then we also have the option of making it a long sleeve in the pattern. But this one is just leaves the sleeves off, and it's lengthened, and this is like a sweatshirt fleece, and then we left the edges raw. I love the eShrug because it has this great drape down the front, which I think is really flattering. And you can make it pretty much whatever length you want. You know, you could make it into more of a really long, what's the word, Betsy?
A duster?
A duster, a duster, which I think would be really great, especially like as it actually gets into spring and summer. If you made it in a linen or a chiffon or something, a swimsuit cover-up. I've been thinking about that a lot lately because of summer vacation that we're going to take. So I've been thinking about swimsuit cover-ups. But you know, I think you could do a lot with this eShrug pattern. And then a trio. This is a trio underneath it. I think both the eTee and the trio are great to layer under these vests because like the eTee is nice and fitted. And so it's a great piece. You don't have to worry about the size of the armhole or anything like that. You can really layer it well and easily. Now this next one is a little more interesting, and you might not think of it as a vest, but it's that third piece. It's that third piece that you can use to layer over your sweaters and your t-shirts. And so it doesn't necessarily cut in like a traditional vest, but our cottage, especially when it's lengthened, I think is a great kind of vest piece. This is made in a wool and lengthened. I think Kathy did this one. And it has, again, a trio underneath. But I think this one also can be made into more of a duster length as well, to be made as a vest, as a dress. It has a lot of options. But this is a nice, you could do a long sleeve or again, a sweater underneath if you want it to be more for winter. But if you made it in a lightweight, in a linen, I think it would be great for spring as well. I think that's really cute. Almost wore that one today. And this is a good summertime piece, I think. Sometimes I forget that you can layer it, a vest with a short sleeve shirt or even a tank if you just want that extra layer. And so this is the pearl, so the pearl jacket, which is traditionally a jacket, but we just left off the sleeves and put the Anne's tank underneath. I think that's a really fun way to do it. If you don't want to just wear a tank top, if you add that third piece, I think it dresses it up a little bit. And this is just a linen. Ooh, another peony. This is my favorite peony. Again, I like the lengthened vest. I think it gives you a nice slim silhouette when you have a nice lengthened vest. And this is a peony, again, with the zipper, made out of a boiled wool. I think that's really fun with the striped zipper, exposing the zipper here on the front and keeping the angle of the pattern and layering it with an eTee.
Oh, before you put that away, can you put that cottage on,
Sure,
please?
I can put the cottage on.
Okay. Take a mini break for the cottage.
Yes. It's kind of why I wore this, because I figured there might be some people who might want to see these on.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can, here's the test. Can I layer it over the Bristol? Let's see. This is a Bristol that I have on.
Yep.
And you can.
I
wanted it to have
go back
pockets
a little bit so you can see.
So lengthened cottage with the Bristol underneath, and then I'm wearing the West Ends.
And then can we talk about the collar on the cottage, or the lack thereof?
That's true. So this cottage just has the stand, not the collar. So that's something you can do. I know sometimes collars and stands get a little tricky, and maybe leaving off one step can just make your life a lot better. So, and this one actually, because this fabric is so thick, the wool is used on the outside of the stand and a lining is used on the inside. So that's a great way, because it would be tricky. It'd be really tricky to get this curve of the stand using a double layer of the wool.
And that's just like a Bimberg
rayon? Just a Bimberg rayon. And then it was also used on the inside yoke.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, what else do we have here? We've got, so the Mimosa. The Mimosa top, traditionally worn as a sleeveless garment, can also be worn as a vest, especially depending on what you make it out of. So this is a boiled wool, a couple different colors of boiled wool, and then we used raw edges because of the fabric as well, and also used a little bit like a pinking treatment on the edge, which is really fun. Traditionally, we just use our rotary cutter and make a nice clean edge, but on this one, pinking shears or a pinking rotary cutter was used, and just gives it a little bit of an extra look, a little fun detail. And I would wear a nice slim t-shirt underneath this. You might even want to increase the size of the armhole, since it is traditionally a sleeveless garment. So you can put it underneath, but I would use an eTee underneath this garment. All right, the last one. This is an eVest, which is another one of our digital patterns, and in a sweater knit. Has great angled hems, has a kind of fit and flare silhouette to it, so it's nice and trim through the waist, and then A-lines down to the bottom. And then it's a trio underneath. I think that one's really fun. And then the main event for the vest is the Tremont. So this is the Tremont jacket made into a vest. Can you see that?
I'm going to go back so they can see the whole thing.
All right.
There we go.
So this Tremont vest was made in the fabrics, these Danish knits that we have on the background here. And so we did a blog. I'm trying to think of when we did this. It's been quite a few years. But where we made a metallic French terry Tremont vest. And so if you go to our blog and go under the patterns, and it lists the different pattern options that you can click on Tremont, and you will find this blog on how to create a Tremont vest. It gives instructions on how to create the facings at the armhole, the instructions for it, the yardage that you need. Everything is on the blog for you. But the main thing that we did was just create the facing for the armholes. You don't put the sleeve in, create the facing for the armhole and attach it. You could, if you wanted to, this garment has some amazing miters, and we have really good instructions on how to create the miters, but sometimes you do want to keep it simple. You don't want to have all the fuss. And so you could, if you wanted to, you could take your side seam and go all the way down, and that would eliminate some of your miters. So that is an option. But let me show you how you do that facing. All right, can you see that?
Yeah, I think we can.
Okay. So to create the Tremont vest facing, you take your front and back pattern pieces and you're going to trace that armhole shape. And then you are going to, so the armhole shape for front and for back. And so you're going to add 2 5/8 to that shape, and that is going to be your facing. And so what on the blog we did talk about using a front and separate back piece, and so you have a seam at the shoulder. Well, Linda, when she made this vest, she decided to eliminate that seam, make it a little bit easier, and so she put the pattern pieces together, and so she has no seam at the shoulder seam, and so it's all one piece there, just the seam at the bottom. This 2 5/8, that's the same width as the front hem. So keep that in mind. So it just kind of keeps that same distance from the fold. So a finished 2-inch hem on both of those. So that's how you create the facing. I'm going to show you a few details on that. I'm going to take it off the dress form. You can see it. Let's see if this fits, huh? What do you think? Linda made it for herself. It's a size small. Let's check it out.
It's cute. What size would you normally make?
I would have thought to make a medium.
It fits you pretty well, though, I think.
Kind of why it was on the dress form. I was like, well, I better put it on the dress form. It's Linda's size, not mine. But it's really cute. This is out of a organic cotton knit. Oh, it's really soft. It's really comfortable. That's great. Oh, expected to be a little snug. But yes, she did end up doing the miters and keeping that vent. I do love a vent, especially in a vest. And here is the facing detail, and then a great button to finish it off. I know a lot of you probably love to get these statement buttons, but don't quite know when to use them. Well, now's the time. Or we do have a little special going on. If you buy any 2 yards of the fabrics we have on promotion this week, we are going to send you 1 statement button for your vest. We have so many amazing statement buttons, so we will be glad to share them with you. So Linda chose this beautiful green one. So we're like,
Yeah, it's good. You should take that home.
I know, sorry, Linda. So that is the Tremont vest. Let's put this over here and then talk about this eTee. So this is the eTee that was underneath. It is lengthened, and then the sleeve is also lengthened. So traditionally the eTee has a short sleeve, and I think is about 2 inches shorter in the body than this garment here. And this is made out of a rayon knit. So I'm going to show you how to lengthen the sleeve. We do have a tutorial called the eTee Evolution, where we talk about lengthening the body of the eTee, we talk about lengthening the sleeve, and a few other great tips on working with the eTee pattern. But I'm going to show you just a quick overview on how you lengthen a sleeve. So the eTee has a fairly short sleeve. I wouldn't call it a cap sleeve, but it is a short sleeve. And so if you're wanting something for the winter time, or early in fall or early spring, you're probably going to want to have maybe a full length sleeve, or maybe a bracelet length sleeve like this garment here. And so what you would want to do is you can do a couple things. You can find a t-shirt in your closet that you love the length of and measure that length to determine how long you want this sleeve to be. Or you can measure your arm. You can measure from your shoulder down to your wrist to see, or down to whatever length that you choose, and see where you want it to hit and find that measurement. And so Linda chose to make hers 23 inches long for a full length sleeve. So she took from the shoulder point, that dot there, down to the hem fold line, 23 inches. And then she measured around her wrist to see how much of an opening she wanted at the wrist, or again, find a t-shirt that you love and find that measurement there. So she decided she wanted it to be 8 inches in total. So here are your seam allowances, and you want to find that middle point on the sleeve and then measure out 4 inches on one side, measure out 4 inches on the other. And that's how you're going to get your 8 inches around at the wrist. That's just a brief overview, but again, eTee Evolution is a great resource to keep in your pocket so you always know how to lengthen a sleeve or lengthen the body of a garment. All right, so do we want to take any questions now, or should we dive into the fabrics?
Well, that's up to you, but I've got questions if you want them.
Let's go for it.
Let me get them up. First of all, there is a resounding excitement about your haircut. Everybody loves it.
Oh, okay. Thanks. I've been kind of unsure, so I appreciate it.
Let's see. We talked about the cottage already. Oh, someone asked if you would put on the mimosa. If you would try that on.
Sure. We will attempt it. We'll see how big it is. Kathy made it, and it's a small, so. But I will try it for you. But if it might be a comedic point in the video. Let's see. So the mimosa, which side, has on one side, the right side, you fold it in and meet a button at the side seam. And then you take the left side and button it on the right. And again, if it's too small, it might not lay flat across my bust, but. So I do think that you could, again, change the shape of the armhole to make it not quite as snug. I do have very broad shoulders, and so the overall look seems very snug underneath my arms and across my shoulders, and again, it's a small. But that's what I would recommend. I would recommend, yeah, increasing that armhole. Other than that, I think it's a great layering vest.
Thank you. How many yards would you need for a Tremont vest?
You need 2 yards.
Okay. How do you determine the grain line on the facing for the Tremont vest?
You would follow the same grain line as the front and as the back. So it would be the same. Transfer that grain line when you're creating that facing.
Okay. Is the Tremont vest fabric textured?
Let's see. I don't think so. Let's see. Well, it's right here. It's right here. Okay. No, it's very smooth. It's a nice, stable knit. I love this. It's pretty rare that we come across these really stable, medium weight, really soft, kind of heavy drape knits. And I think it's just fantastic. These come from Denmark. And I just think their prints, their colors are extremely just beautiful. And I really enjoy these a lot.
We had a question about doing the facing for the Tremont when converting long sleeve shirts into vests. And again, that is in the blog post. So.
For the Tremont?
Yeah. And if they were doing a different pattern, would it be a similar process?
Okay, so you could do it in a couple different ways. We do have a great tutorial called One Bias Strip for Stylish Looks. And so we talk about different ways that you can finish either a neckline, it refers to necklines and armholes. And so there are different ways that you can finish the armhole. You can do the facing like we did with the Tremont. You can use just a narrower bias strip, like, let's see, like here with this pearl. It has a narrower binding finish that's turned to the outside and top stitch. So that technique is in that tutorial. This one is very similar in that it's turned to the outside. The technique is different. It's wrapped. Let me see if I can give you a closer shot. This technique is right sides together and then it's wrapped to the wrong side and then trimmed really close after it's stitched. So in that tutorial, there are a couple different techniques on how you can finish that armhole. So you wouldn't necessarily have to do the same wide band that we did for the Tremont. I think you can get different looks. I love the wide band when you have a really interesting fabric that you might want to see. But if you want something a little more delicate and smaller, then you can do these narrow bias strips.
Would you interface the facing?
I think it would depend on your fabric. We didn't use any interfacing on the knit. It was very stable. But if you had something that was it was lighter weight, you might want to interface it. So I think you would just have to make that judgment based on your fabric.
Could you do a flat felled seam or a princess seam in the knit that you used for the Tremont?
If a princess seam, I think if you could do a princess seam, I don't think that would be a problem. I wonder if the flat felled seam might be a little thick. Though Linda did use a double fold hem on this garment. When I think initially you might think that you wouldn't just because it is so thick. I think you could try it now that I think about it. It is a medium heavier weight knit, but I think that it's not too heavy to where it would be bulky. So change my tune on that.
Make a sample.
Exactly, make a sample. I think test it and see. Since we didn't try that with this fabric, I would test it and see.
I think that's it, so let's talk about fabric.
All right, let's talk about fabric. Let's move these things out of the way. All right, you see everything? All right, let's start over here. So we have a few different pairings on the wall because we had our t-shirt as the bottom layer and then we have the vest on top. So some of these can be paired together, mix and match. And these all came, or most of these actually came, everything on the wall came from the Danish company. And then we have a few other pairings that didn't. So this is a rayon jersey knit. This is just a beautiful rich purple. And it pairs really well with this medium weight stable knit. I love the geometric shapes on this. Deb actually made a Hudson top with that wonderful cowl out of this fabric. And it just had this great lift to it because of the stableness of the fabric. So that was another great pattern to use with this fabric. But this would make a great vest, and then this would be your t-shirt. And then these are 100% organic cotton knit. We used these actually for our haiku project last year in So Confident. We kind of re-debuted this pattern as a digital pattern and used these organic slub knits.
Do you want to bring that close so they can see the texture?
Sure.
Okay. Thank you.
So we do have it in the mustard still. We have black, and then we also have these two beautiful kind of lilac and a dusty rose here. What do we actually call these?
I think it is lilac and rosewood.
Oh, I was very close.
Yeah.
It is. So I think these would make a variety of different patterns. Actually, I think this could make a little heavier, like eTee or Eureka or something like that. But then it could also make the vest or a jacket, a cardigan. So I think it's a nice weight to use for a lot of different projects. And then this bottom textured knit, this is a jacquard knit, again, a organic cotton and elastane. This would make a great vest. It has that same medium, stable drape. I just love this. I love the color. And I think this would make a great vest, a great jacket, a great cardigan, even in a good, eureka. We're always finding fabrics that are good for eurekas. It's pretty, we don't find a lot of fabrics that wouldn't make good eurekas. And I think this would make a good kind of winter weight eureka. And then this is another, medium weight, stable knit, cotton elastane blend. And this is the same here, the same geometric knit here, just in a different colorway, a beautiful navy and light blue, kind of a Carolina blue is what I call it, and a peach. And then this is actually a navy on red, which I think is really fun. And it looks great with this print over here. Forgot about my prints. So you could do a vest. You could do a vest out of this fabric here, and then you could pair it with this jersey knit for the t-shirt, which I think would be really fun. And like I said, I completely forgot about these great knits. Let's bring them back. So these, we have a couple different plaid knits, which are really fun. They are not the Danish fabrics. These are a polyester blend, but the color is just fantastic with the rosewood. I think you could even pair it with the lilac, and maybe even throw it in with this kind of sienna down here at the bottom. And then another plaid knit in a different colorway is definitely gonna work with the bottom one. So your t-shirt out of this one, and then your vest out of the bottom. What's this one called? That's gonna fall.
I think it's Sienna?
Sienna. I'm on point with these names, which I'm usually terrible at. Okay, and then over here, this is another organic slub knit in the mustard, just like the sample that I showed you of the haiku jacket. And then you could pair it with the jersey knit. That's the pairing. Or you could use black. If you want, just a simple black vest, which I think anybody would wear all the time, then you could pair it with this for the t-shirt. This is the same fabric as these two here. So another medium weight knit for the vest, I guess is the same as the sample. And then there's the jersey.
Do you think you could bring the sienna close so they can see that texture?
Sure. Let's see if I can gracefully get it off the wall. It was, see? It was quite the time getting these on the wall yesterday because there's so many fabrics and I had to keep them really snug together. I knew that was going to happen. It took me a lot longer than usual to set it up.
Yeah, it's got kind of a leafy texture. I just wanted people to be able to see that.
And this one definitely is textured. Earlier you mentioned the other fabric being textured, but this one is. This one is a textured knit, which I think is really fun. I love that one.
What would you pair with the center top fabric? So I think that kind of, I think top one up.
This one?
Yeah, I think so.
I think you could pair it with this one here. We didn't have the perfect print pairing for the ones that aren't, shown with a pair. So these two didn't really have a pairing. But I think you could definitely pair it with a solid. Like if you want to, give me a call or shoot me an email or anything, we could definitely find you a solid that would go with it.
And could we see a close-up of that one? Is it easier if I come to you, or do you want to come
which
to me?
one, the top or the middle?
That one, the geometric one.
Okay. These weren't quite as tight on the wall. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, it's really, really fun.
Can we see the eVest again?
eVest, yes. This has a similar weight to the fabrics that are on the wall. That's one reason it kind of stood out to me. And you wouldn't have to do the binding on the edge. You could just do a hem, but to give it a little added detail, or if you wanted to have a different fabric, this is actually the same fabric, it's just the wrong side. But if you did have a fabric that you wanted to show off for the binding, this would be a great pattern to do that. Let's see if there's anything else on my list.
Could you put that vest on? I'm sorry.
Oh, sure.
Cute.
I love the high neck in the back, and then it just has a simple drape in the front. And then it has this really unique, can you see the side seam there? I love the shape of that. And then straight across in the back. Just keep that on.
Just keep it on. We need a close-up of the yellow and blue middle top fabric.
There you go. And this one is pretty smooth. Mm-hmm. Though it looks like it would have a texture.
And then there was a question on what the third color is in the purple geometric knit. There's the plum and the lilac, and then that green.
It's like there's a white, a lilac, and then a green. There's the green.
Almost like a hunter green, kind of.
Mm-hmm, I'd say so.
And once again, Erin is wearing the eVest.
This is the eVest, and then a Bristol underneath, and then the West End pants.
And the fabric of the eVest is no longer available.
Right, the fabric is no longer available. But we have all these beautiful things on the wall.
Could we see the red and navy up close?
Yes. Yes, this is navy. Might read as black from back there, but it is a pretty strong navy actually.
And someone asked if it was a cool red or an orangey red. To me, it's orangey. What do you think?
That's what I was going to say. I think it is more of an orange red.
Yeah. It's like a tomato soup kind of red. Has anyone made the eVest into a jacket?
If you had the Valencia jacket, was actually one of the starting points to the eVest. And so we have the Valencia jacket, which has the sleeves. And then this is a little bit more slim fitting, but our starting point was the Valencia jacket. So that's where I would go with it if you wanted to make it into a jacket.
Could you please put on the eShrug?
Yes, I can. Let's see. I love this eShrug. It's very soft sweatshirt fleece. There you go.
Yep.
So this pattern is great because it doesn't have any side seam. So it is a very quick project. And if you're not putting a sleeve in, it's just even faster.
And how are the sleeves on that one finished?
These are all raw edge. So all the edges on this garment are raw edged, and it's a cover stitch here. So the double stitching is on the wrong side, and then the serge-like finish is on the top.
What
on the
size
right
is
side.
that?
That's a great question. I I don't know. I think it's a 2. I think I made this a little bit bigger just to give it that full shape. Have a nice drape in the front.
Okay. Well, I think we have hit all the questions.
Okay. All right, let's see if I forgot anything. It'd be amazing if I didn't. We have a lot on sale today. All the vest patterns that we talked about are on sale, and including and also the eTee. So the eTee is on sale. The Tremont, the Pearl, the Quincy, the Detour, the Cottage, the Mimosa, the eVest, Peony, and the eShrug. So many patterns on sale. And then all the fabrics, of course, that we showed, those are all on sale. And then if you buy 2 yards of any of the sale fabric, you do get that 1 statement button. And then what else? Oh, don't forget about the terry, the metallic terry Tremont vest on the blog. So that's free to you to look at to see all the details on how to make that facing and how to take the Tremont and make it into a vest. And then we also have quite a few tutorials on sale. So the eTee Evolution that talks about the lengthening of the sleeve and the lengthening of the body of the eTee, that's on sale. 1 bias strip plus 4 stylish looks. So that'll give you a lot of details on how to finish your armholes. And then the essential third piece, I didn't mention this, but it's a lot of what we talked about, you know, just remembering that third piece, that vest, that duster, that you can add to your wardrobe that really, like, I think sets off your outfit if you have that third piece. And that's on sale.
So much is on sale.
Anything else?
I have a couple things.
Okay.
The first thing is that Mindy Jackson is a first-time viewer, and she really liked the presentation. So welcome, Mindy.
Thank you, Mindy.
Alex, I think, posted a link for you so you can find the patterns.
Okay, great. Thanks, Alex.
Can we show the Peony Vest?
Yes, Peony Vest. I'll bring up both of them.
And we aren't sure what issue of Threads that the Tyvek vest was featured in, but we can find out.
Right. Yeah, so the Tyvek vest was in Threads. I'll have to figure out which one it was. But this is a really fun project, I think. And then this is the lengthened peony. So similar, you know, idea with the zipper up that angled seam there. Just one is lengthened and the other is not. And both eTee underneath, trio underneath.
Speaking of the eTee, is that the slim t-shirt pattern?
Yes, our eTee is, I'd say, our more fitted t-shirt. We have a swing tee, and that one has a fuller shape. It A-lines into a little swing shape down to the hips. Mm-hmm.
And then one last thing, it's March, and we haven't talked about our kits.
March. So, for So Confident this month, we've debuted our project, and it uses the whistle shirt. And so here's the project with all these really fun pinstripe shirtings, and then our lovely Liberty cotton tonalon print there. So these are the 2 options that we have for kits. I love both. I can't really decide which one I love the best. Linda just made this one in the orange, and then here's the wonderful green. And it has this great unexpected lilac color, which is a color that I'm kind of obsessed with. But I love that. I don't think I realized that when we ordered it, but I love the combination of the green and the lilac. I love green and lilac, green and pink. It's kind of something I'm obsessed with when it comes to interiors right now. So it's really fun to see it in a garment. So the video is out. So that is, if you want to purchase the class, just buy a single class, you can do that. And then of course, if you're already a So Confident yearly member, that class is ready for you. And you can also become a So Confident member for the year. So you would get all of the classes that we've already done starting in January to now, and then of course throughout the rest of the year. So get your class, get your kits, and you can start in on this project.
And one last request to see the original Tremont green vest.
Yes, all right.
And we've had a variety of people say that the Tyvek vest is in threads number 173 from
wow.
June, July of 2014.
Oh, well, goodness, thank you.
I'm going to push that back just a little bit.
Bring her arms out. There we go. And there's that statement button that you guys can get when you order your 2 yards of fabric. But I just love how it drapes. It has just a great drape. It has a pretty low armhole, which makes it really comfortable, I think, because then you can layer it with so many different things, not just a lightweight t-shirt.
Which t-shirt pattern would you suggest for narrow shoulders?
This swing tee is great for narrow shoulders. It already has a narrow shoulder. I mean, we adjusted it for that purpose. So it'd be the perfect pattern. So the eTee, I'd say, is for a little broader shoulder because I have to make a minor adjustment, but not as much. I have to make quite an adjustment on the swing tee. So.
Okay, well, I think that's it.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you for joining us. I appreciate it, and we'll see you next week.